Hey everybody, welcome back for another 16-bit shooting edition of SHOREVIEWKEN, and today we're taking a look at yet another fantasy shooter for the Mega Drive, and that's Phelios, which was developed and published by Namco, first in arcades in 1989, and on the Mega Drive and Genesis in 1990, and just like Elemental Master, which I also covered recently, this is a shooter that I like a lot, not just for its gameplay, which is solid, but perhaps more so for its visuals, music, and overall style. It features a setting and story inspired by Greek mythology, and it has you playing as Apollo flying through the air on Pegasus as you shoot down legions of monsters on your quest to rescue your beloved and ever so sexy Artemis. So you'll be taking on monsters from Greek lore such as Medusa, Antaeus, and Cerberus, just to name a few. It's not the typical shoot-'em-up story and setting from the era, no space brains or giant mutants or spaceships to contend with, but if you ask me, it's still pretty damn cool. As far as shooters on the Mega Drive go, I wouldn't say that Phelios is the best, because it definitely has its shortcomings, chief of which for me are your large hitbox and the weakness of your basic shot, but I'd say the positives definitely outweigh the negatives. You initially have two difficulty settings to choose from, a novice and an expert mode, but if you choose the novice mode, be forewarned, the game ends after stage 4, instead of giving you the full 7 stages to play through, and you can unlock a much more difficult master mode if you are indeed a true Phelios master. This game starts you off with a pretty weak, basic pea shooter, but you can also hold the fire button for a couple of seconds to unleash a much more effective power shot, and you'll be using this a lot through your playthrough. You are also provided with a variety of power-ups, like a speed increase and options to increase your firepower, as well as a number of temporary weapon boosts like a homing shot and power beam, but again, they only last a limited amount of time, so you really have to make the most of them, and I really wish they were permanent, or at least would last until you lose a life. It does make the game more challenging though, which this is certainly a very challenging shooter, lots of enemies on screen at any one time, huge boss battles, and again, a pretty sizable hitbox. You can take a few hits before you die though, which is very nifty, but overall, I would say that this is a very fun shooter with some responsive controls, lots of power-ups, some serious challenge, and a unique premise as well. I like it a lot. As I said at the start of the review, just as much as the gameplay, or perhaps even more so, I really love this game for its visuals, sound design, and overall aesthetics. This is a very colorful game that takes those monsters and mythical creatures and settings from Greek lore and gives them a nice 80s style anime 16-bit makeover, which I like a lot. You get a cool looking knight on a Pegasus to play as, some really big boss monsters with some great designs to take on, a sexy chick to save, really colorful and detailed stages. This game really is just a feast for the 16-bit eyes as far as I'm concerned, and it's especially impressive considering that this is an early release for the Mega Drive, and it does its very best to faithfully translate the arcade game. Plus, Phelios has an awesome soundtrack that changes in tone a lot as you progress through each stage, so it might sound more heroic when you're flying through the sky, but more ominous sounding when you're in a dungeon or cave, and capped off with a more aggressive boss theme, and even the voice samples are pretty good, and actually give me kind of a Splatterhouse vibe, which is very cool. So overall, while again, I don't think this is the end-all, be-all of Mega Drive shooters exactly, it definitely brings together some solid gameplay, a very cool story and setting, and some killer graphics and sound for its day. So if you've never played Phelios either on the Mega Drive or Genesis before and you're a shooter fan, rectify that mistake immediately because Artemis is counting on you. Check it out.